All right. You know what I'm saying? It's DJ Benz up in here. Welcome to Culture Vybz radio show on Support District Radio. I'm DJ Benz over here. Hi, Nels!
What's going on?
You know what I'm saying? And Cheeseburger's somewhere. He gonna come back real quick.
He went to get one.
Right. So yeah, man. Yo, how's it going? Like, how's it going living in this life with, mask on and what's good, man?
Man, it's definitely different. I went to the freedom with the kids and the family yesterday. Everybody was safe for the most part, practicing social distancing, doing different, types of distribution of candy. But I was chilling outside, as you know, watching the fight. So I had a good time last night. But it's different. Definitely navigating our new normal.
It's different. That knockout. His soul left his body. Like, how? Like, I wish we just saw your face reaction. Like, how did it feel to see somebody get his soul left out of his body on such a big screen TV and shit?
I don't know if you know, but I had the fight projected on my garage last night. So we was outside.
So you got money.
No, I ain't no money. Don't do me like that. No, I had the fight projected on my garage though. But I mean, I like I told you before, I thought he was gone. I seriously thought he was gone. I did not know that he was gonna wake up from that. But yeah, it was definitely. Did you watch the fight last night?
No, I didn't watch the fight last night. I had an awesome date last night.
Oh, okay. You gonna tell us about that?
Well, so my date was actually with my bathroom because I was cleaning.
Oh
so.
my god.
Nah.
You gotta tell me something spicy.
I'm not spicy when the time comes, but it's I ain't gonna front. I'm at the phase where adulting is the turn up. When you go to Target and you find a deal, that's a turn up. Alright? When you find like the Pine Sol after it's been out for like the last 3 weeks, that's the turn up.
Everybody outside of Arizona gaining an extra hour of sleep, that's a turn up.
Like, I don't care, people be out here trying to act like they about that Instagram life and champagne lifestyle. No,
on that.
Nah, sometimes you just like being in the crib with your robe on and your comfortable slippers, and you binge watching your shows. Be like that sometimes.
I've been binge watching Scandal. It's like season 5, season 6.
Oh, you better than me.
I never got into that one.
Listen, Olivia Pope, she's Washington, straight up. We need Olivia Pope right now.
Nah, I watch too much anime for that. I love anime. The plus it's free too. I don't gotta pay for a Netflix subscription. I just use my homies.
I knew he was going to use some naughties.
Oh man, that's how we do. It's COVID.
I thought I was adulting by making my own account. I felt like accomplished in my life that I made my own account. It was awesome. It's amazing.
You remember back in 2008 when everybody had to, say, yo, it's a recession. Why am I going out to the club, right? Nowadays you say, yo, it's COVID. I ain't going nowhere.
Honestly, I haven't used COVID or anything. Sometimes I just don't go out to the club. I just don't feel like it. I'm an extroverted introvert.
Yeah, I know I be using that excuse.
It's like I have my choices of when I want to be social and then when I don't want to be social. Nah, man. Like I'm sorry. A lot of people will be mad at me. A lot of times I'm like, hey man, I'm busy, or something came up. I'm sorry, I didn't make it. Honestly, guys, I'm sorry. I just didn't feel like going. My bad. I didn't go.
I get like that, man. People trying to be critical if you don't that person. Yo, that one person that flakes all the time? Like you hit them up for a wave, you hit them up for a move, and they just flake on you on the regular. You're like, yo, why do I even bother hitting this person up? But
right.
You're like,
I just ask him straight up, what's going on? You got a problem? You need to talk about something? Because I don't like that. I don't like funny business. No, because then, you invite somebody, right? And like you said, they flake. And most people, after a while, they stop inviting you or they stop inviting that person.
Yeah.
I'm going to call you out. Because I want to know what's going on. I done invited you 3 times. You said no every time. What's up?
That's true. I like what we're wearing today. I like what you're wearing. I like what you're wearing. Talk about y'all shirts and whatnot.
Nah, don't need to do that, man, because people gonna see I've been eating too much.
Hey, blame it on COVID.
Nah, dog. I have a very intimate relationship with DoorDash, dog. Like, I've been DoorDashing, I've been Postmates, I've been Uber Eating. They know me on a first name basis.
I got a subscription right now. So when you make a discount off the delivery fee, I got that now.
Yeah.
I'm paying DoorDash $9.99.
Well, you better than most people because you have a subscription to DoorDash, whereas most people got a subscription to OnlyFans. So that's the world we live in right now. OnlyFans is paying somebody's rent right now. I know last time y'all talked about that, y'all was talking about if you would deal with somebody who got OnlyFans.
Yeah.
But I ain't mad at nobody for having an OnlyFans. There's a story where a nurse, whole nurse, right?
Right.
Working, COVID, wearing all the protective gear, all of that good stuff. She not, as you know, a lot of medical professionals are not getting the hazard pay. That's usually what's allocated to them when they are working in, dangerous or detriment situations such as COVID or, this pandemic.
Right.
And a lot of them have not been getting this hazard pay, right? Even in Arizona here, there's been petitions to get a bill approved to approve hazard pay for medical professionals.
Right.
However, this is the nurse. I forgot where she lives, but she got an OnlyFans page. She out there, popping that thing up for a real one time.
And then she's like getting her rent paid for a year.
But I heard there's people on OnlyFans that don't even have to do anything spectacular or anything. Like, there's just people, I don't know, just doing weird stuff, not even getting naked or doing anything like that.
There is an audience for everything. There's a white girl on OnlyFans right now who gets dressed up as a dog.
Oh, that's what the story I was thinking
And she pretends to be a dog, and she makes like $1 million.
That's ridiculous.
Like, my thing is,
whoa, pause, time out.
Yeah.
What?
Nah, check this. So she gets like this dog costume, like them bondage type joints.
Yeah.
So she got the leather face with the leather ears, and you know what I'm saying? She got a leather bikini, and she be on all fours acting like a dog, and she's making bread.
I can't.
On OnlyFans.
So can I just like stare at the screen and make money? Like,
Well,
can I set up an account and try it?
You can make an account where you showing off your feet, and people will pay for that.
Well, but there's people legitimately out there that have feet fetishes.
But the truth is, people think you just go on OnlyFans and make a page. It don't work like that. You have to market and promote yourself. It's just that it's so easy to promote the sex part of OnlyFans. Hi, everybody's on there, but it's a subscription service. So you have, let's say you do classes on real estate or something like that. Tips on how to leverage real estate. If you create an OnlyFans page, you are now charging people $10, $20 to subscribe to your channel so they can get information on real estate. That's just one way people can use OnlyFans, right? It's different, because here's an example. You got an Instagram page, all right? Lisa Ray, matter of fact, she's making an OnlyFans page. You go on there and think about it. She's a public figure. She gets haters. She gets all kind of comments.
Right.
People be liking her stuff. People be commenting her stuff. She gets all this publicity. But for what?
What's she doing on
For attentions, right? But if you get to OnlyFans, now the only people who want to be on there are people who are willing to pay to see her on a regular basis. And even if she's just waking up and just washing her face, or she's at a turn up, she's choosing to share parts of her life to get money off it.
Do they have a live stream component, or is it
actually
just
they do.
pre-recorded?
No, they do. They have a bit of live stream. Yeah. They got a bit of live stream. So I'm just saying, man, if you have a hustle, or if you got something that you believe is unique to you, and you believe you can charge people to show that, jump on OnlyFans. 100% with you. Like it's honestly a platform to me that magnifies entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
If you go on YouTube, let's say you do videos on cooking classes, all right? 100,000 people, whoever can see that. Maybe you get a couple of sponsors, a couple of advertisers. Go on OnlyFans, do the same process, and charge people $7 a month to watch you make some of these dishes.
Cash money.
Market that. Now you got yourself a nice little chunk of change.
Nels, what is your opinion about OnlyFans?
I mean, I really don't know much about it. I'm learning from Cheeseburger right here. When he talking about it, it sounds like he need to go up on there with his whining skills.
Hey, look, I'm gonna tell you right now, I was this close to buying a purple thong and just create a channel called it Only Mans. Because let me say this.
Oh, shit.
I am comfortable in my sexuality. All right, I am a heterosexual cisgender male. All right?
And I'm a heterosexual
But let me say this right.
I'm not subscribing to your channel.
You don't need to. It's not for you.
I know. Okay, just
It's
making
not
sure.
for you. It's for somebody.
Man.
It's for somebody who might want to see a piece of this chocolate. All right.
Oh my God.
And that's what's up. I'm just call me a baker. I'm just providing some goods. That's all. It's not that serious, dog.
It's not that serious.
I don't care.
I don't just not subscribing to your ass.
Look.
Nah.
Hey man, look, I'm willing to show whatever I feel comfortable showing. That's all it is. You know what I'm saying? I just wear a couple of costumes and stuff like that. People think I'm hot. It don't matter if it's somebody's. If it's somebody's daughter, cool. But if it's somebody's son, I like that.
Flaunt it. Flaunt it if you got it.
Yo.
Flaunt it if you got it.
Oh, yeah.
Where my air horn?
It is November
Flaunt
1st.
it if you got it.
If you ain't paid rent yet, I don't know what to tell you. Get on over there.
Shout out to everybody that paid their rent today. Yay! No late fee, yay!
Real
Shout
talk.
out to everybody paying the
How is everybody feeling about, it's so crazy by this time next week the world could be changed. Like, how y'all feel about that? Are y'all okay? Is y'all anxiety all right? Is y'all okay?
No, my anxiety's at an all-time high. I mean, because I feel like, honestly, either way we go, there's going to be some kind of uproar after the election on Tuesday night. Whether Biden wins and all the Trump supporters just go on a frenzy because they're so upset, or Trump wins and they're like turning up to 1,000 because they feel like they gain control over the next 4 years. You know, I don't know. I'm nervous. I'm staying in my house next week. I'll tell you that much.
Well, we got Trump election and we got local elections too. Which is the Q in, you know what I'm saying? Hey Crisco, how you doing, man? Yeah, I do something like that.
We have the pleasure of introducing you.
I didn't even give one of those.
A local celebrity, I like to say.
There we go.
My man, Crisco Kidd, aka Joshua Carmona, because you know what I'm saying, he's running for public office.
Let's do
We
it.
got him in the studio today just to just give us an update on the mayor race for Phoenix. And dog, it's some scandal, not scandal, but it's some
Allegedly.
Yeah.
The key word of today is allegedly.
But thanks Crisco for coming down to check us out here on Culture Vibes.
I appreciate the invite. Can I get the Facebook link so I can share it out right quick?
Yeah,
I gotta share something out right quick.
Let me send that to you over here in a minute.
Yeah.
Support District Radio Facebook page. That's where we are broadcasting live right now. So this is our first episode here with Culture Vibes on Support District Radio. So we hear about really just playing good music, of course. DJ Blaine's got that, and then also having good, wholesome conversation on all things, let's say, Black, progressive, forward-moving, current events, relationship stuff if you want, and of course anything that moves the culture forward. And I'm thankful to have Crisco here on today because I think he's a brother that has been moving the culture forward in Phoenix. Not only, but also coming from a place like Houston as well, and his story is remarkable to go from being on air to now running for Phoenix. So, like, how did you get from that, from being on air to wanting to run for mayor of Phoenix?
Right. So, I mean, in short, I was basically tired of the lack of leadership from Mayor Kidd. I was tired of her always being unavailable for comment. Anytime you look at a news story about Mayor Kidd Gallego, majority of the time you're going to see the mayor's office was unavailable for comment. That's not what we needed during COVID-19. That's not what we needed since the death of George Floyd, Deion Johnson locally, Jay Garcia, Ryan Whitaker, some of the other cases since she's been mayor. And at one point in June, when it may have been, in June, we had reached out to mayor's office, we had reached out to the sheriff in zone. And Sheriff and Zone reached back to us because I wanted to reach out to as many people in law enforcement to see how we're going to move forward in the case of Deion Johnson and what are we to expect from law enforcement.
It's crazy how you and I did the same thing because I want to say a couple months ago I tried to reach out to the sheriff's office of Phoenix and they reached back in like 5 minutes and said, yeah, unavailable for comment. I'm like, really, bro?
Yeah, so Chief Williams, we didn't get anywhere with them either. Actually, I called Phoenix PD out at one of the early protests, and it's on my Instagram, it's on Power's Instagram. You can go back and look. And there was a public information officer, and she was out there saying that, oh no, well, we reached out to the radio stations. I said, excuse me, you reached out to Power?
There's two examples right here. You reached out. I was an icon at the moment. There's 2 radio stations right here that will say no, that's a lie.
Yeah, so she's like, well, I'm not sure, and there's a group of people around. I said, so you mean to tell me that you're telling the people here that you reached out to everyone and no one would put anybody from Phoenix PD on the air? No one would give you guys a platform to talk about anything. But I'm telling you right now, the station that has reached out, and you're telling me you don't even know what Power 98.3. Power 98.3 has been the heritage hip hop station for 2 decades, 20 years. And so when you have people as the public information officer who don't know the communities that you're trying to serve, that's another problem right there, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
And so, with that, and, again, the mayor's lack of leadership, even for COVID-19 response, I wanted to have a conversation with her about COVID and about the death of Deion Johnson and what our police department is going to do moving forward. No comment, nothing available. She agreed to an interview at 5 p.m. We were going to do a Zoom with Oh Jesus. He was in a host. I was in the inner room. It was during the time of my show. And within like a couple of hours, she canceled. And she cited that the reason that she was unable to do the Zoom meeting is because she had to pick up her child from daycare. And so we have all this on. This is not just, I have the receipts. We already showed the receipts to the New Times because her new office communication director tried to call me a liar in the article that was written about me in the New Times. And I sent those emails in, and I said I was actually offended that she used her son as an excuse as to why she couldn't interview with us, because my mom was a single mom who had 2 to 3 jobs and still made time to make things happen.
And your
That's
business.
weak. And she's not a fool, it's not like her ex-husband who is, he's running for office as well, but they're in town, they're co-parenting, man. Don't tell me that when there's other single moms in positions where they don't have the dad around at all.
Right.
And you know what? You have to be available to talk. And so I took offense to that, and I thought it was a slap in the face to all the other single moms out there who are doing not just 1, but 2 or 3 jobs and still have to be held accountable, right? For their job to do their job.
Absolutely.
She also appeared on national TV on CNBC, MSN, BC. She was on CNN calling Doug Ducey a liar and saying that our morgue space was full. Well, turned out the hospitals that she was saying, they called her out for lying on that as well. So not only is she avoiding local media, avoiding our station, and avoiding people that listen to Power, that demographic, but she's also on national TV. She chose national over local. You know what I'm saying? She wanted that national publicity, wanted to be a star, right? Not take care of home, and then lie and got called out on it. So at that moment, I'm like, I'm gonna run. She's gonna make me run. And that's exactly how I got here.
Yeah.
Because that was the motivating factor. That along with a couple other things that I was like, enough. Because we need a mayor that's not, and then I heard her on KTAR, the conservative talk channel. So I'm like, you single-handedly slighted us and the listeners. And we need a mayor that's gonna talk to everybody in this city. Not just for people who you think are gonna vote.
Right.
Not just for the national exposure, people right here. And that's what really motivated me to get in this race.
Wow.
So it's funny because it's almost like saying you can't pronounce politician without a liar. Like, because that's kind of the synonym that goes with being a politician, right? And it's almost like saying people shouldn't be too surprised when someone like Kay Gallegos, doesn't tell the truth, right? But for someone like yourself, how do you differentiate yourself, or how have you been positioning yourself and your campaign as, hey, this is the direction we need to go with Phoenix?
Baby, I'm here. That's the #1 difference. I said that in the debate as well. We had a debate October 20th. Kate Gallego, Marissa Hamilton, both didn't show up. They've exercised a certain privilege, I'll just say white privilege, to where they feel they don't need to be a participant in any debates that there could be people of color, Black, brown, Native, Asian, anybody listening who hosted that debate. So Telemundo, La Campesina, Power, I-97.5, and The Wow Factor. Those were all the media partners. And again, another slap in the face to different people who are not conservative stations or not traditional. We were under the understanding that either Fox would be on board, 12 News would be on board, maybe AZ Family, as well as an English partner. But regardless, either way, there was media there that you don't have the opportunity to talk to on the daily basis. Why would you ignore those people? And so that's the difference. And I'm not a career politician. And we were kind of talking off mic. If things don't go per se, if I don't win on Tuesday, hopefully we already have meetings, but to go back to Riviera and do afternoons again on Power 98.3. So I'm not a career politician in the sense that I'm not even a politician. I'm running to be an elected official so I can serve the people of Phoenix. These people that are career politicians, They've been groomed for this. They practice memorizing stats. They practice being in uncomfortable situations, supposedly, or knowing how to debate, knowing how to talk to people, and what looks good.
Basically PR.
Yeah,
Right.
PR, you know, and how to present yourself and look in the camera and be like, oh yes, blah blah, right? A lot of career politicians, they do that. The difference is, I could lose and I'm gonna be all right because I still have real estate. I still got my famous churros restaurant. You know, we'll be back at the first of the year doing other things, building out the food truck. So we still gonna move forward. Some of these people that are career politicians, they don't win. What are they gonna do? They go to panic mode. That's why they lie. They say anything to get in office or stay in office because that's all they know. It's all they've been trained to do. Some of these people go to private schools. They go to Ivy League schools because that's what there's nothing wrong. You can get to an Ivy League school. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm a product of public schooling. I went to University of Houston. I got my 2 degrees. You put me on paper against Kate. She got 2 degrees. Okay. I think Marissa got her degree. The person I'm not going to talk bad about though is Tim C because he showed up to the debate, and that's an automatic another level of respect from me.
Right.
If somebody can attend that debate and you don't feel like you're above the people, but we can have a conversation.
I got 2 questions, man, because a lot of times I've been thinking, especially as of late, like why do these politicians like don't cater to people that don't look like them? You know, this is a 2-part question. You know, because sometimes I really just go to the basic of it. You know, why you're not listening to me? You know, why you're not listening to her? Why you're not listening to him? And then the second part of this is, well, Phoenix is diverse. You know, we do have Hispanics, we have Black people, we also have white voters as well. So if you were to be elected mayor, what are you going to do to basically service everybody, including the white voters?
The same thing that I've been doing. See, that's what I'm saying. This is not new to me. For me to go in different neighborhoods, whether it's white, whether it's black, brown, native, I mean, I've been in every neighborhood. I'm from Houston, Texas, where our population is extremely diverse. I would not call Arizona diverse. We got work to do. Because when your population, the black population here is 6%, that's not diverse. Where I'm from, the black population is 23 to 24% black, 32% Hispanic. Then the rest white, Asian, Vietnamese, it really needs in Houston, right? That's diverse. That's diversity. So I grew up in schools like that. And so where other people may be from cities that aren't that inclusive, they're not that diverse, they didn't understand how to navigate around other people in different neighborhoods, that's not how they're bred. They don't know that. So how can someone who is not raised in diversity, even or experienced it growing up and understand that from early, how can you tell people that you're supposed to do this and you live this and you do what you don't? See, in radio, I might do a remote broadcast from a Bashas' here, AJ's Whole Food, or Food City, all the same company. You see what I'm saying? They're all kind of linked together, but it's just what neighborhood are we going to do that remote broadcasting? And so that's the beauty about radio. For 21 years, I've had conversations. I've been a member of Hispanic Business Chamber of Commerce. I've been a regular Chamber of Commerce with things that I've done on the real estate side and just being a business person for the past 15 years. So for me to navigate in any type of room, it's not a problem for me. And so creating policy and being a representative of multicultural, different backgrounds, it doesn't make me uncomfortable. I don't have a problem with any of that because you can look at my Facebook friends list and you can see the difference. You can go through and compare everyone's Facebook list because I've done it. One is extremely this way, one is extremely this way, and the other one, I mean, you're like, oh, I found 3 people that weren't. You know what I mean? There's, okay, I found one. You look at that's what your Facebook list is kind of a good indication of who you talk with actually and who your friends are.
Right.
And when you look through one and it's all white, and you look through another one, it might be all black, it might be all Hispanic, that's a pretty good indication of who you really. Mine is blended. Mine is the children first of the person
right there. Show me your
it's not planned. That's just who I am. Show me your Facebook. Yeah,
that is some jewels right there. Show me your Facebook list and I'll show you who you are. That man.
You know, they say, oh no, raised out of black men in high school. What?
Yo, I don't trust people who only have one set of friends. I don't, because my thing is this. What kind of person are you if you only interact with one group of people?
This is what I'm saying.
Right?
And I know Kate, and I don't want to just bag on her, but with this, I know she went to a private school.
Right.
Okay? There's only 2 of them I know the one she went to in Albuquerque. I know people that know her. And so I know in Albuquerque is another kind of, it's a smaller Phoenix. And even in the makeup of people that, the ratio, again, you're looking at less than 10% population that is black. in Albuquerque. And most people go there because they're going to UNM. And so you got to think, okay, this is a bigger Albuquerque. And so if I know the school that you went to, and I know who's there, I know it's reflected, and then it's a private school. So you got to think, okay, and then how many people that look like us are in Harvard? There's some. There's not a lot. And so then you got to think like, okay, it comes down to percentages and being comfortable around other types of people.
Right.
That's why you don't see some of these politicians in the avenues. This is why I said we need a mayor that is going to be for the streets and the avenues. When I moved here 4.5 years ago, people were like, oh yeah, you want to live somewhere in the streets. Don't go to the avenue side of it. I was like, damn, what's wrong with the avenue, right? So I go to the avenue side of town. I'm like, man, they got the best taco shops.
Hey, you got the elote, bro. You got the elote dude pulling up. You know
I mean,
what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I'm just like, I got my hair cut on the west side. I mean, I'm just thinking, what is wrong with the avenues, right? It doesn't look like, but it doesn't mean the people are horrible people to stay away from the avenues. Now, I get the history of Phoenix. I'm not naive. But at the same time, imagine moving here and in the first couple of weeks, people telling you to stay out the avenues. That shouldn't be the first thing. My job, and I want to be mayor, so I can say that this city, I don't care if you're in the streets of the avenues, man, this is a beautiful city. We got great people here, and no matter what part of town, you're going to have something that you're going to love about Phoenix, and you're going to feel humble.
But I know for sure there's going to be some people who are conservatives going to bring up this stat that I actually brought up, actually saw last week. Phoenix and lately has a 44% rise in gun violence, second only to Chicago.
Wow.
So what are you saying about that? And if you were to be mayor, what would you do to change that to make Phoenix safer?
Right, and that's actually part of the campaign. So the three pillars that we're running on, besides being independent, is families first, safer streets, smarter cities. And so when I have conversations with people, doesn't matter if you're white, black, brown, Asian, Native, everyone agrees that people want safer streets. We all want to know that we can pick up the phone and we can call the police and we expect a certain amount of time for response. We want police to be in our neighborhoods to make sure everything is good. Now, moving forward, you look at other bigger cities. We're number 5, by the way, and Maricopa County is the fastest growing city 3 years in a row.
Yep. when
And so I noticed, and we'll be talking about affordable housing later if you want to, but I know it's because I'm a realtor as well. And so when I look at these stats, and I look at, well, why aren't we implementing any policies or any type of policing that the other major cities have been doing as far as with diverse communities? And I made this comment yesterday, I made it a couple of times in the election. It's crazy for me to think, and for all of us to think, that if George Floyd, Deion Johnson, and other people in this city that have been killed at the hands of police, if these events didn't happen, would we even be talking about moving forward with the Civilian Review Board? Would we even be talking about fully funding the Office of Accountability and Transparency? Would the carotid chokeholds that the Phoenix Police Department has been using, would they have been banned? I think the answer is no if George Floyd wasn't killed by police in Minneapolis. And so when you think about the 5th largest city in America barely implementing body cams, there was a vote in 2018 and 2019 to start implementing body cams. We're 2020 and we still don't have all police officers in body cams, but look how much money is funded to police in the city of Phoenix and in Arizona and as a whole.
just a few months ago, there was a conversation that I think it was like 900 mil was looking to be allocated towards the Phoenix Police Department. And I think what happened is, I think maybe 600 or 700 mil of that was allocated to Phoenix Police, and then the other portion of it was allocated to the review board. But it opens up that question of, like you said, why are you not paying attention to other cities that have the diversity or seen success with implementing these things? Why isn't Phoenix doing so? And I'm one of those people where I say this: if something doesn't make sense, it's because sense was never there to begin with, right? That's because whatever agenda they want to follow or whatever belief system they have, that's all they want to apply.
Well, it's not evolving. See,
Right.
as the city grows and the demographics change here, the police and the way they police has to evolve as well.
Mm.
And when you're not doing that, you're seeing what's happening, right? So let's look at the 44% increase in crime. Now, we know that some of this is domestic violence, because we know that COVID-19, people haven't been able to leave their house. they're stuck. I don't want to say stuck with the families, or stuck with their spouses or whatever. And finances is one of the number one things that causes families to divorce, or parents to divorce, couples to divorce. So when you couple in health, when you couple in financing, when you couple in stress, you think about COVID-19 and you don't know what's going to happen. Can we go out? How can we maintain a normal life? A lot of these things are emotionally hitting people, not just Phoenicians, but we're seeing that the violence rise because of that as well. But we have to look at the fact that now, and I've had in a conversation yesterday and with a couple other police sergeants in the last couple of weeks, there's a shortage right now as it is for police. And the climate right now with the whole defund police versus defund police, it's making recruiting really hard. So what they're saying is that we can't hire enough people to police all the neighborhoods as they should be. But I'm thinking, well, if COVID-19 didn't hit, you still have the same amount of police officers, right? How are you using those numbers effectively? But they're not. So then you have to look at the law that was passed to where now it's not just one officer in a car, it's two. So essentially, you cut the amount of police vehicles that could have been out in the streets almost in half now. Because there could have been, let's say there was 1,000 cars out. Well, now there's 500 because it's 2 officers per every car now. So we have to take into account of some of those things. We have to figure out, okay, in Houston, I know they have a really good program as far as community policing. And what it means by community policing is you're either going to have police officers, and this isn't some new brain surgery or brain science. Somebody says, oh, this isn't brain or whatever. The other day on one of my comments, I'm like, bro, I'm not trying to say that. I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. So you have to look at things that have already been done and say, okay, this worked, this didn't work. And so if it's showing that in other communities that when you have officers that are from certain neighborhoods and they're able to patrol the neighborhood, crime decreases because they have built that relationship with those people in the neighborhood.
Right.
It's an old school technique, but you got to think, how many generations have gone by where I even think about this in radio. There's some things that I remember doing 20 years ago, 15 years ago when I first started radio, and everyone tried to out-create everyone, think outside the box and think outside that you've gone so far ahead or crazy that when you get back to basics in radio, people are like, wow, what kind of contest was that? Oh, that bit was funny. Because it hadn't been heard in 1 or 2 generations of people going through high school and middle school, right? They've all grown up. So same thing. We're not reinventing policing, but get back to policing where people are involved in the community.
Right.
That's old school policing. If you think about it, where people know where they're from.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I had I grew up in the Bronx, and we had a neighborhood cop. We called him Bike Man because he was always on patrolling on his bicycle, and he knew my brother by first and last name. He knew where we lived at, and anytime there was something troubling going on, or he wanted to come and check on my brother, he would actually come outside my building window and call for him, or call for me or my mom to make sure my brother was safe. And, he patrolled the neighborhood regularly.
Did you feel it was effective?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I'm saying.
Because I felt comfortable,
We got to get back to that. We also have to get back into, in my conversation with Paul Zone, we talked about Office of Accountability Transparency, but I said, Sheriff, I like to implement the CAT model. And the CAT means consistency, accountability, and transparency. Okay? This doesn't just apply for law enforcement, though, but I'm going to break it down. Consistency, because we do see an inconsistency in the way that white communities and communities of color are being policed. Whether you're being pulled over for a traffic violation, citation, or just on even house calls to where somebody's doing something outside, there's automatically a difference in response that's going to happen in different neighborhoods. If anybody denies that, they're crazy. I'm sorry. There is a difference. Okay? Now,
so everyone for that.
Yeah, that's part of the consistency. We have to get to consistent policing. Now, the accountability. If a cop messes up, there's bad cops in every man. If there's a bad employee at Chick-fil-A, Burger King, they're fired.
Exactly.
And those people don't have the ability to take somebody's life.
Right.
They're just serving fast food. And shout out to all the fast food workers. Shout out to everybody that works in service. I know that. Trust me. Shout out to Phoenix Children. But if somebody kept continuing messing up in my restaurant, geez, bro, what are we doing?
No,
You see what I'm saying? And there's people that have gone to school even longer. We can talk about training and all. We'll talk about that for training in a minute. But let's get back to the accountability. We have to be able to hold the officers that are messing up, that are just wrong, that have done things illegally, not by the book, or that have been immoral. They have to be held accountable, just like a football team. One person offsides, guess what? The whole team is penalized. Yeah. Pass interference, we got to start looking at ways to hold everyone accountable, because when you hold the whole team accountable, people start changing their behavior.
What kills me the most about accountability is that people make it seem like you're asking for a lot when you're talking about accountability.
Right.
And we're talking about just on the bare basic of this. Like, if we even just break this premise down, when you talk about a district attorney, right? We're talking about if you and I have an issue, right? And you and I just can't see eye to eye for whatever reason. And let's say a mediator comes in or someone in the middle is supposed to come in. If the person in the middle is taking money from the back door from you, don't you think there's going to be some kind of implicit bias that they're going to work towards your favor? It's a misnomer. But what I'm saying though is that when we talk about accountability, we're not talking about just, burning and pillaging things down. We're talking about, look, we want accountability because it sets a precedent. It sets a standard that the person who did something is penalized, but also it gives other people in the same job the standard of, hey, if you cross this line, this is what's going to happen.
Exactly.
But when people are able to walk around without any sense of accountability or any sense of agency, now we're in the situation we're in.
Exactly. And with the T, transparency, we want to know what's happening to the police departments. I don't want edited, well, in this video, we see this body cam that comes out, and it's like, well, wait a minute. What happened between minute 4 and minute 12?
Right.
We want transparency. I know sometimes they say, well, this is all, this is pretty much, no. And I think we have to right now rebuild trust between the police and the community.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to lay it out there, man. We always talk about transparency, but nobody ever really wants to be transparent. I know there's some things that we have to hold back. Not everything is everyone's business. But at the same time, when people are being killed, in certain cases, in these cases, you have to be fully transparent so that way the people trust the police. Now, at the same time, I don't think this is just for law enforcement. In a conversation with Father Gregory Boyle, he runs Homeland Industries. He just got the 2020 Humanitarian of the Year Award for the Hilton Foundation. And Homeland Industries is one of the biggest. They do tortillas, they do tortilla chips, salsas. They employ gang members, former gang members, ex-con program, whatever they have. They have so many different names. But inmates and people who have turned their life around, they hire all these people and give them second chances, or sometimes they never even had a second chance. It's their first chance to actually have a career. So this dude has been putting people on for almost 30 years, creating opportunities for people that didn't exist. And when we had a conversation, we talked about kinship, we talked about belonging, because he feels that inclusion and diversity sometimes is just checking off a box that corporations are doing now. Mm-hmm. People are doing, let me include this person, okay, this person. But he talked about kinship and belonging and really getting back to that unity amongst people. And until we understand that your actions can control my actions and vice versa, or maybe not control, but affect the way that we're all in the community, right? Mm-hmm. We have to understand again, back to basics. We have to get back at looking at us as brothers and sisters and people.
One of my favorite sayings is this: diversity is the parent to innovation. Right? When you talk about us trying to get from point A to point B, right? I'm going to use ourselves as an example. Myself, Nels, yourself, right? We all could be trying to solve the same problem. But if we both pay attention to each other or have a certain level of respect, 3 heads are better than 1. And just that simple understanding, right? A lot of people overlook that because it's, this isn't my problem, so it doesn't affect me, and so on and so forth, and just being considerate of one another as human beings, which also leads me to another saying. This was said by a historian. He recorded something to the effect of, this was World War II in Germany, and he said something to the effect of, when they came for the gypsies, I said nothing. When they came for the Jews, I said nothing. When they came for me, there was no one left to speak on my behalf. So a lot of times, the people who are to the left and to the right of you, who have situations and issues going on, if you even just give it a thought, if you are willing to walk to the left and to the right of them on those issues, they will also in return walk next to you for whatever issues that come your way or relates to people like you, but that often gets left out of the conversation.
Yeah, those are all great. I think the thing is we all know quotes, right? We've read quotes, we've studied quotes, we've seen quotes on YouTube, but now we have to act on those things.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like the person that reads all day and doesn't ever communicate with anyone. They don't ever express what they know. They don't help anyone else with the knowledge that they have. I think we're at that time right now. But back to I'm going to wrap that in here. So we have to start holding each other accountable. We have to be more consistent with each other as well, and more transparent with each other. Because when we start walking around, we have the attitude, how can I get over on this person? Yeah, let me hit a quick lick off them, right? You know what I'm saying? How can I do this? We're not evolving, we're not elevating, right? I can take the same energy as it's gonna take for me to hate on you, that's what me to encourage and love you.
Right.
And so we have to get back to that understanding again. And so that's when I say the CAT model doesn't just appear, or it should apply to law enforcement, but us as well. Because when you put that in play, like in my neighborhood, Sunny Slope Block Watch, we're one of the biggest in the city. And it's because our neighbors, we make it a point for us to know what's happening on our block. We have our monthly meeting at the end of the month every Tuesday, last Tuesday of the month. So we know what's happening. And so the city responds to what we're doing because they know we're investing in our communities, we're investing in the people in our community. Use the Nextdoor app. I think the Ring app has something as well.
Yeah.
Like everybody's got a block watch, but how involved are you in making your block watch? This goes back to community policing as well. Because we gotta start somewhere. We cannot depend on the government to do everything for us. I know we pay tax dollars. I know that these are things that they're supposed to do, but do you find excuses or do you find a way to make it happen?
Right.
Because it's our communities at the end of the day. I don't care what.
Complaining or you find a solution.
Exactly. Exactly.
So you talked about diversity, and actually I wanted to have a conversation just about the current state of the race, right? So there are, to my knowledge, there are 5 candidates, right? So Kate Gallego, who's currently the incumbent mayor, Melissa Hamilton, who is a businesswoman and chair of the Arizona State.
I don't know if she's a businesswoman because we can't find any papers that say she runs any business. She talks about creating jobs and protecting small business, but she doesn't own any business.
Okay. And then there's also Tim C., who's also listed as businessman. Juan Chauville, who's listed as a music producer, and then of course yourself. Now, there's this diversity, I like to say, of candidates who are running for Phoenix, right? So people are running for different reasons. Most people, according to Melissa Hamilton and Tim C., are saying that because of Kate Gallego's inefficiency with leadership, this is why they're running. But with the way COVID has been set up, there's been 2 major challenges I've noticed that's been reported. The first is that there's been a shortened term where candidates have had less time to organize and raise money to get the word out about their campaign and their platform. So I think it's been reported that Kate Gallego spent more than $3 million in her election bid and raised up until about another $1 million up until June. Hamilton raised a certain amount of funds. Tim C.A. raised a certain amount of funds. So everyone's working under those conditions. But then also the challenge of not having public events and going door to door and campaigning. So this is the reality of it. All of these things are already leaning in favor of Kate Gallego because she's the incumbent, where everyone else, including yourself, have had these challenges. So how have those challenges affected your ability to, run your campaign currently? I
mean, I got in super late, right? And so where most people have been collecting signatures since March, around that time, we had 6 days after the second time they told me that I couldn't use an address. So they wanted me to correct my address because it was my business, and I told them that I didn't feel comfortable putting my home address because I'm still a radio personality, I'm still a public figure in some capacity, and if I didn't win, I didn't just want my home address kind of like publicly available at any given time.
Right.
So then I had to change my address again, and so on the second change of address, we had 6 days to try to full 6 days to try to get 1,500 signatures. We were able to get 700 signatures. So we did half the amount in 6 days, where it took 1,500 for the other people 3 months to get that.
Wow.
So if someone, and there's Nicole Garcia, I think she's a horrible candidate for District 3, and I think she's even a horrible person because she's been voter suppressing people to not vote for me. She's not even in my race, but telling people and on my profile, other people, that I'm lazy, that I'm a radio personality, what do I know about anything, that why am I even running? And I'm thinking, first of all, I'm not lazy. That didn't even make any sense because my 700 signatures I got, a city council member only needs to get 300. So I already got more than you. You feel me?
In 6 days.
Yeah, in 6 days. So I already got more than you.
Have several seats, sis.
You see what I'm saying? She's just
I'm
so negative.
sis. I'm looking at the camera.
Just negative. And versus campaign, we do have video. I'm just deciding if it's worth to even release it or not. it's just so coincidentally, and we've seen that my signs are taken down after she puts one of hers up.
Wow.
So I've seen that happen as well in this campaign. There's a lot of dirty campaigning. So we've relied though, and those signs are expensive. The big signs are between $22 and $30 a sign. People don't realize that. The little ones are between $4 and $6.
Multiplication formula, and you times that by like what, thousands,
We did.
2,000 signs.
We didn't have that budget, but we did 300 big signs, 300 little signs.
That's a
And
lot of money.
we were still able to cover the blanket. Not blanket the city, but we were still able to get like in our key areas that we knew that people that listened to my show, we knew different people that were voting independent, registered independents, because we knew this election is so polarized that I could be saying the best things or I could be saying the worst things to people. But the way they feel about the presidential candidate or their party
That's where they're
is gonna go most of the time, right?
Right.
And so especially I'm a registered independent, I'm no party affiliation, and versus Kate got so much money from the Democrat Party, versus Hamilton, who was a libertarian, she just switched to Republican to run for this election because she wanted that money to go against the Democrat, right? She saw an opportunity and took it. Yeah. And I call her Pick Me Marissa because 2016 she wanted to run for Arizona Senator. 2018 she ran as a libertarian against Governor Doug Ducey. Now she wants to be mayor of Phoenix as a Republican. So it's just like, again, remember I talked about queer politicians. Pick me, pick me, pick me, because now she don't win. Now we'll see her as in 2 years running for another senator's house.
It's like
seat that's
the
up.
person who's the last person picked on a basketball team.
They just want to be picked.
They just want
And that's what she's doing right now.
Mm.
And her negative campaigning, her team kicking my signs down, doing things like that, that's not cool.
So here's my thing for you, right? Let's say Tuesday comes, right?
Mhm.
And you don't win.
Mhm.
Where does that put you? Are you gonna go back to radio? Are you gonna try and get involved maybe with whatever party does win and try to see how you can work with them? Do you plan on being involved in the community or maybe trying to get into a different position or running for mayor again in 4 years? Like, where do you?
See, again, nothing changes for me as far as like community service because I've been doing that. Like I've been doing Adopt a Highway since I was 10. My Eagle Scout project. You're looking at, you see what I'm saying? I've been involved in charity work and community
Right.
service. This year will be my 12th annual Crisco Kidd's Ton of Toys drive where I sleep outside of a Walmart till I raise 2,000 pounds of toys. For the last 4 years, we've donated our toys to UMOM. And so, no other candidate has slept outside of a Walmart for 10 days straight till they reached the goal. So it ain't nothing new to me. I'm gonna keep doing what I do.
Right,
Charity work. I've donated almost 100 inches of my hair to Lots of Love and Pantene Pro-V for wigs. My own hair. I'm a cancer survivor. So I understand the point of giving back. It's ain't nothing for me. This is what I'm saying. Service and like giving back is like, it's just bred in me where I'm from.
I'm scared to death to cut my hair.
I mean, it's the first time it was 17 inches, and then I went through. The ironic thing is, I got diagnosed with cancer so that Friday I went for my checkup, went to the doctor. That Monday I got told that I had cancer, and I had my first hair dry. I didn't even had nothing to do with it. I was just doing it. I had my hair dry that Saturday, so the very first hair drive I did that weekend, I got diagnosed with cancer 2 days later.
Wow.
It's crazy.
So it sounds like, and I mean, it goes without saying that, it's already in your DNA. It's funny
I mean,
because
it's what we do.
career politicians,
Family.
it's one of those things where it's like,
Well, I'm not a career. Yeah.
right, for those people, right,
Oh, yeah.
they just get onto game when it comes to,
When it comes
now
time for
they
elections.
kissing babies and
Oh,
saying
wow.
what's up to people. But to
Right.
you, it's like, dog, I've just been doing this. It's just now I'm deciding to take this step because y'all are not.
Because I've been talking to people 21 years in Houston, Dallas, LA, Albuquerque, and now here. Like, it's my job. And so hopefully, like we talk with Rivera Broadcasting, and I'm like, hey, if things don't go well, is my spot still available? Because I had to step down to run and focus fully on this election.
Right.
I've made like the greatest sacrifice. Well, there's greater sacrifice, I shouldn't say that. As far as my career, that I've had to give up on air to be able to run for mayor. So while other people were able to keep their salaries or get funding from Democrat or Republican parties, I've had to rely on my real estate money. And so thank God I've had 1.5 transactions, so that's kept me afloat and kept me doing things, right? And so now, hopefully, everything goes back to normal. I would like, if I don't win, on Monday to be back on power every afternoon. That's the goal. Get back to work. I'm still on Sirius XM because it was, it's a national thing, syndicated thing. My pick was globalization. So I didn't have to remove myself because it's not a local election or it's not a local situation. But I'm gonna go, if I don't win, I'm still gonna go back. I'm still gonna champion different people that didn't have a voice, that don't have a voice, or feel they don't have a voice, and speak up for them.
So I I'm gonna have a little story and then I have a question on top of that. So my oldest stepson, he's 19. He just voted for the first time ever. You know what I'm saying? His grandma
That's awesome.
took him to the polls and voted.
Yeah.
And though he knows the sacrifice of what our past generations have done to get that right to vote, he still does not feel accomplished because it's like, okay, first of all, is my voice really going to count? Because he researched on voter suppression, how a lot of people kind of like drive, you know, folks like us away from the polls. I think we researched this earlier today, where even though a lot of us have the right to vote, only 60% of us actually uses it. You know, so and another
Might be less than that.
yeah, probably less than that. And then it's like the South Park episode. I'm choosing between a douche or a turd. So it's like either way, like, is my voice really going to count? Which would drive to this question: does the right to vote really does it really count?
I say
Does
yes.
my vote
Yes.
really count?
Yeah, I've had, look, the cool thing is I've had conversations with so many people during this election season. And the last couple ones that I'm gonna just tell you that come to mind right now were like, Baratunde Thurston he's got one of the biggest podcasts in the world right now called How to Citizen. We talk about voting, we talk about voter suppression, we talk about a couple of things, and that's a good, go to my YouTube, look at Crisco Kidd, Baratunde, it should pop up, or itstimePhoenix.com, or Crisco Kidd. Great conversation, it addresses that as well. The answer is yes. I've always believed in voting local, though, more than at the federal level, because these are the things in my conversation with Yellow Paint. So he's got two songs, you know, My Vote Don't Count and My Vote Will Count, right? The remix with 7th Streeter. And so having him on the show 2 weeks ago, we had a conversation about that. Some people think, oh, well, he's a rapper. I mean, I don't know, you know, but his song has literally changed a whole generation's perspective of voting. Give this man some credit. And I'm tired of people, our conversation was, you know, I feel like being from radio, you could be a baker down the street, you could be whatever your job is, and all of a sudden you want to run for office, and you're like, all right, well, come on board, man, buddy, come on. Me, coming from radio, or if we do DJ, if we come from any type of entertainment, we have to work 2 to 3 times as hard to get half a damn look.
Yeah.
And it's like, why am I less qualified than the guy that was just working as whatever manager of some finance company down the street? Why does he become more credible than anybody what we're doing? And so our voices do count. We just have to stop believing the lie that we're supposed to be how you want us to be. You know what I mean? That people are trying to put us in a position, they're trying to put us in a category, and that's where they want us to stay.
So is the system designed for our voice to count if we actually take advantage of it, or are they going to do some type of Black Wall Street type of thing where they just wipe our voices out?
Well, no. See, that's the thing. That, like, you have to even break that mentality, because we have to start thinking that, look, we all got a voter thing in the mail, right? Or if you signed up for one, you got it. I got mine in the mail. I've already put my vote in, and so a lot of people could have chose to early vote. Now, the same enthusiasm that we have to go to Costco or whatever and wait in line for something, or if somebody's about to drop the new sneaker, people are whether they're doing it online and waiting and having all their friends call up everybody and be excited, or if Lil Durk is dropping something, or Drake's got Certified Lover Boy and everybody's waiting for whatever. That same passion, we got to have that for politics as well. Because at the end of the day, Drake don't care. Drake, I mean, I'm not saying he doesn't care about anybody, but us as individuals, or about the policies that affect our lives personally every day. We have to have the same energy in researching our elected officials, researching the politicians, researching the policy. You got somebody that can list off every Tekashi 6ix9ine album or whatever he's got, but can't tell you one thing about any policy that's happening in the city that directly affects their life.
Like
You have 207, 208, 444, 449. You have to know these things. And if it's just a season of your life, make it your business to know it and share that same enthusiasm amongst our peers, our family members. And here's what I tell people too. Not everybody's going to agree with me 100%. That's okay. That's fine, because guess what? I don't agree with my mama 100%. I don't agree with my dad 100%. And I think it's so naive of people, and it's just lazy when people just, oh, well, I'm only going to believe a Democrat. I'm only going to believe a Republican. Oh, this candidate, why? Wow, oh, because they took a picture of Joe Biden. And Joe Biden don't care about you. I'm sorry, Kamala Harris, Donald Trump, Pence. what they're looking at is on a whole different level playing field. Focus on local, the things that affect us. Because you're not going to like sometimes the other people that's in the other parties when it comes down to the research.
Right. Speaking of local, so to your point about people putting the wrong energy into the wrong thing, dog, people were more outraged about 50 Cent endorsing, quote unquote, Donald Trump. Lil Wayne endorsing Donald Trump, right?
The whole Ice Cube situation.
Ice Cube, right. That could be a rabbit hole in itself. But a lot of people were charged up about the positions that these people took. But the same people who complain about that are also the same people who will not go to the polls.
Correct.
So my thing is it's one of those things. It's like people ask for rain, but then complain when they get wet. Like, what do you want?
Can't never make anybody happy.
But it's what I'm saying, we can't allow, because at the end of the day, the electoral vote is still in place, right? A lot of people may not even fully understand the function of the electoral college system. And I think this is when, in the classes that we don't want to pay attention to, right? We just like, we're going through history. Oh, okay, I got to take government. I got to do this. And so most of us, we weren't really paying attention in those classes. And sometimes, unless your school district, which I know every school district is different, which by the way, Arizona ranks 48th, 49th, and 50th, which we shouldn't be at the bottom of it, but that's a whole different thing we could talk about. But when you have, sometimes these teachers, they are teaching government. It may not just be soaking in, or it may not be relayed the best way for us to commonly grab it, right? So that's why we have to go back and relearn it again as adults. And this comes back to the community. This is what we're talking about when it comes to the community, family first, safer streets, smarter cities. These are things that I'm talking about. We have to offer more programs to, even with schools. We have to have programs that are going to have the parents help them learn what the kids are learning. Because when you're asking the parent to learn, well, how come, well, you changed math on me. 5 years ago, you did math like this. Now you got boxes and you got tic-tac-toe charts just to do 15 times 10.
Right.
And so now you got two generations in some cases, or one, that don't understand the math. So now we have to have public courses that are going to help teach these parents how to help their kids with their homework as well. Because if you have a generational math gap that doesn't understand Common Core, then it's like, I can't help you. Not because the parent is uneducated, but because they learned a way, and it's hard, a different way, and it's hard for them to relate to what the kid is learning now. I looked at my niece and stuff, and I have a 2-year-old son now, and I'm thinking, what the hell is math even going to change from when they were doing homework to when he's doing homework?
Right.
So government is the same way, right? We have to find different ways to really understand how we're supposed to be looking at the electoral college system versus popular vote. Because electorals, now we could get rid of it, but what happens is, when you have populations of like California, where there's so many people there, right? And then you have another state that may not have, it's more rural versus the urban, right? So there's people spread out. And the point is to protect, it's supposed to be kind of like an equal playing field. So that way, if that's the case, you would just see the campaigns just stopping in the major cities, taking all those popular votes, and call it a day.
Right.
The electoral college system is in place because it's to show that all the people in middle America, all the people that might be in Casa Grande, their voice is just as important to the people that live in Phoenix, Arizona.
Right.
That's the point of the electoral college system, because if that's the case, then you would only see the candidates stop in the top 10 markets, and that would give you popular vote. If you think about it, you could get all those,
Florida.
you just get all them states and just hopefully, whatever, they'll vote wherever they want.
This is why Iowa is important. This is why Ohio is important.
These are why these other, see, so it all bleeds into each other, but everyone's vote matters, because there's some people that just vote for the president and they didn't vote for mayor of Phoenix. There's some people that didn't vote for the school board. There's some people that didn't vote for 208, 207. There's some people, and not because, maybe it's because they didn't understand what was going on, or maybe because they were fooled into believing by the media that only thing that matters is Trump versus Biden. And that's the furthest thing. We have to focus on local again. Mine looks like Republican, Democrat, Republican, it's all over the place. Because I don't just vote for party. I look at who's going to do the best job. I look at how my life has been for the past 3 or 4 years. I look at COVID response. I look at how was my life before COVID. Was I able to have this business? How was I financially? How was I mentally? Did I feel like this? Did I feel like this? Then I go back 4 years before that. How was I getting rid of this? Was I penalized for this? Oh no, was I rewarded for this? And I look at all that, and I look at how my life was better mentally, physically, financially, and I put those together, and that's how I make my decisions. And I use that same energy for the federal, state, and local elections. Your voice and your vote does count. Everyone does. So key.
Yeah, and to your point too, it's frustrating when you think of like that generational this lack of information, right? And once again, it's no one particular person's fault, but I also think of it also to a certain extent, it's up to the individual, right? I'll use myself for an example. Both my parents are not from here; they're from Haiti. I grew up, I didn't learn to speak English till I was 7, right? Only reason why I bring that up is because I didn't like when people told me who I should be or what I should be. People would say, oh, you're tall, so you know you'd be amazing at basketball. And I was frustrated because I'm like, yo, there's so much more to me to that, right? The same thing goes with voting. When you see the information about how to talk about voting and what's the Biden versus Trump and this, and I'm like, yo, I question things. Too many people get caught up in riding the wave. Once again, people who got caught up about Lil Wayne and 50 endorsing these cats, and it's just one of those things where it's like, yo, those people who they choose or who they affiliate with, they are an individual. They're making decisions to benefit their lives.
Right.
As much as I would love people to make the decision that benefits the majority of people, there are going to be some people that are going to make decisions for themselves, which means you need to take it upon yourself to say, what type of person are you? Are you the person that's going to ride a wave because it's convenient and then still complain? Are you the person that's going to do your due diligence, say, let me find out what actually makes sense to me on my lifestyle, and also somewhere down the line, can what I choose make a difference for other people or help other
That's
people?
that unity, that's that belonging, that's that kinship again, that we have got to start feeling and knowing with each other again. Some people are like, oh, this is corny, yeah, we are the world, and we are, but at the end of the day, what is it really gonna hurt you to be better to people?
Yeah.
To be better for your community?
Right.
What does it hurt? You're not gonna get hurt.
Right.
Right.
That's the thing.
I mean, the thing is, you're absolutely right, you know, and doing your due diligence to understand what's on that ballot, because that ballot is not knowing anything or anything on that ballot. It's like taking a hard test, right? You don't know.
Like the SATs.
You're like, what do I pick? Who do I pick? You got to do research. You got to know what's going on in your community.
Yeah.
You know, because if not, then you're gonna end up circling the wrong thing or not voting at all, and then that's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt everybody in the long run too.
Right.
Yeah, I have so, and I always like to offer perspective, right? So my mother is works at a retirement home, right? I don't know what she does, LPN, CPN, ABC, I don't know, but she works in the medical field. And it's funny is that as a kid, you know, she would work 11, 12-hour shifts. All right, right now she's been working through COVID. It terrifies the hell out of me to think about that because she's 58 and she's still working. Now, for me, it could be a long conversation, but from a money standpoint and the sacrifice that she's making, I'm her son. I would want to know and feel comfortable that what she's doing, she's properly being compensated for it and or properly being protected by that. That's just the relationship I have with my mom. I can imagine a number of people, medical professionals whose moms, parents, sisters who are in the medical field right now, sacrificing things, right? If I can vote, now sure, I use my story, but if you stop and think about it, someone is at the hospital right now risking their life and their family's lives in order to help someone that they don't know, right? And if you can just stop for a second and just say, you know what, if you don't think much for yourself, I don't know what to tell you. I can't speak for you. But if you can at least say, you cared about someone else's life to a certain extent, there's got to be something gratifying to that. And there's got to be something gratifying to that that's also attached to, once again, not riding the wave, dog. Like, do your due diligence, look at what makes sense for you. And if you don't have the understanding, because everyone says do research, dog, holler at somebody that you know. I promise you, in a circle of 5 people, at least 2 or 3 of them is going to have an understanding about politics or what any of this stuff means.
People, you might be surprised right now, because I think a lot of people have this election, and since COVID, have opened up their minds, and some people, their hearts, to understanding the way different people are, right? Mm-hmm. And why they think this way, and what are the other options. And I'll leave with this, but just one thing that's important I want people to understand And 2 weeks ago at Lynn Haven Community Church over off 35th Ave, I think, in Camelback in that area. I just know how to get there. There was the youth pastor named Sadi, and she broke it down. And this is biblical, so I don't care whatever your religion is, but this is just a great message here. And it was talking about how to love someone, but I took it as how to love a community, how to love our neighbors, how to love people. And it was talking about you have to fully understand other people, everyone, in order to fully know how to love them. And so we have to look at that in the same way with the city and who we're choosing as our elected officials. You have to have someone that understands, not just this community, not just that one, not just as only president for this and this and that, but that really understands all communities, or at least made the effort to try to understand the way things are, why they are.
Mhm.
So that way they can fully, not just love, because not everybody operates out of love, but at least understands how to serve. And when you can get to that understanding, I think that's when we start electing our officials that can move and delegate and govern from that mentality, that perspective. If not, we're going to keep running into the same thing over and over and over again. So if you're happy with the way that Mayor Kate Gallego has been doing things since March of 2019, she's a champion of transportation. She fought for the light rail that I've seen tear up the South Side, and a lot of people that I've talked to on the South Side are not happy about that rail being there. It's ripped up a lot of small businesses. It's rose the price of housing in that area to where people, if they're buying up that land and they're buying their houses, they're giving them cash. It's predatory what's happening because they're telling them, oh, they can just rent something. Yeah, right. The prices, the property taxes, everything, the property value has risen so high that people in those areas can't even afford to rent anymore.
The formula
That's wrong.
gentrification.
That's wrong.
Mm.
But anyway, she's a champion of that. She fought for that instead of providing extra services and even just basic Wi-Fi. 2020, we're still trying to figure out why kids can't get Wi-Fi. When in 2006, when I did radio in Albuquerque and Rio Rancho, a whole city about the size of Tempe was free Wi-Fi. But we can't figure it out in 2020. Those are programs and things we could have been doing.
Right.
You know, Marissa Hamilton, all you're going to find out about her is I fund the police or I heart police on her signs and go Trump. She's never had her own rally. She just attaches onto those rallies and gets a platform. But when it comes down to finding any content, any speeches, any answers about anything, you're not going to find it on her pages. She didn't even have a website until 2 months ago. I had mine.
In the streets, you call that a buddy hustler.
There you go.
And I get all this support and everything, but like where do we get the money from?
The parties. At the financials in June or July, that first quarter for the Republican candidate, Mr. Hamilton, she only had a couple thousand.
Yeah,
She has
$1,900.
she has $600,000 now. Kate Gallego has $3 million. I have only seen 12 Kate Gallego signs, and I put up billboards. Most of my yard signs, I did 80% of them myself. So I've been all over the city putting up my signs. And I've only seen, I think 12 was the last count I got to. So she's just stacking money. That's probably because she wants to run for senator, or Congress, or governor, depending on what happens with this election, who gets in the White House or who stays in the White House. That's what I think that money is going to. But again, Marissa Hamilton, $600,000, that's a lot of Republican money, a lot of special interest from both of those other, the Democrat and Republican candidate, a lot of special interest money. This is supposed to be a nonpartisan election. That's one thing I'd like to see change moving forward as well, because if you're supposed to be nonpartisan, then you shouldn't be depending on party money
Right.
to be funding
I
that
thought that
office.
was the case too, but then to hear that they're Republican and Democratic, I was like, I thought you were supposed to be bipartisan.
I was told by one group of people that I couldn't, they would like to back me because I'm a true independent. I'm physically conservative, but I'm socially liberal. I believe in humanitarian. I believe in humanitarian causes. I believe in empathy and basic human rights. So I'm perfectly down the middle. Or some people are just this way and some people are this way. But just do the research. I only have 2 days left. It'sTimePhoenix.com. You can go there. You can go to my YouTube channel. I would tell you to go to my Twitter, but it got hacked since October 16th.
What?
So, yeah, I still can't get in. I was talking about Kate Gallego, and all of a sudden my account was hacked within 20 minutes. October 16th, Friday at 5 p.m. at
Politics is
5:36.
really like this. It's really like how I saw a scandal in TV shows.
It's going.
This is crazy.
But just look, I don't want to be negative. I'd rather spread positivity.
That's true.
Just look at my content. You'll see all the videos. You'll see conversations with real people, to celebrities, to Mayor. Shout out to Mayor Michael Tubbs. Stockton, California. Stockton's alma mater, the HBO documentary. I talk, we text just because I'm ready to take office on day one. I've had conversations with Akon about sustainable energy and smarter cities because what he's done in Africa, guess what? I want to bring to Phoenix.
Wow.
And I already started these things. These conversations are already rolling, man.
Yeah.
That's Anthony O'Neill, who works with Dave Ramsey. Anthony O'Neill's my guy when it comes to finances. And learning how to balance the city. I know it's not the mayor. There's a city manager, there's a deputy city manager, or somebody that does the ballot. I want people to realize this too. The mayor in Phoenix, the position, is not like a New York or LA or Chicago or Houston. It's what's called a weak mayor system, where we have a city manager and where we have, you're basically a ninth city council member and the face and the voice of the city. So you're representative for all districts, but you're also the ninth city council member's vote. And so look at that as well and understand that if you're feeling because I wasn't in city council before I decided to run for mayor. Kay Gallego was there for about maybe 6 years and then became mayor. But if you don't like the way that the city's moving, and you gotta think, why did it take so long since she was city council member to finally enact body cameras? Since 2011, they barely voted in 2018, 19 to have cameras. What were you doing, Kate, for 6 years? And that's just one instance. There's so many things regarding policies that could have been benefiting communities of color and small businesses and other people, but like, Kate, where were you? Even as mayor, we had to shut our restaurant down because we couldn't get city grants. Now, they realize they messed up, and they're trying to scramble to give out $20 million. $20 million, but guess what, it's too late because a lot of small business owners, they're shut down. We're done. But how are we gonna recover? And I wanna help lead in the recovery of the city. And so, just, again, take some more time to research. If you have any questions, I'm Zooming, I'm Skyping. Shout out to DJ Eakin. I'll have a thing with him tomorrow on his podcast. He's out of Tampa Bay. And so, like, I appreciate y'all for inviting me here today. I gotta go pick up Brenda and my son Phoenix at a birthday party on the west side, so I gotta go pick them up.
First, man.
But but I appreciate y'all's time today. Above all, thank you. Any platform, any people, anybody. Like, that's what a mayor should be. And if I was to win, this don't stop. We just keep moving forward because people got questions.
The way you are, either you win or lose, it's not gonna stop anyway.
No.
Right.
Why wouldn't people vote for you, man? Like
I love your face mask too, man. 'Cause,
Oh.
like, I had a great combo with, like, I even used it as part of my campaign with Nip, and like, by him saying the highest human act is to inspire, and that's part of the reason. Like, that was our last conversation we had, our last interview when he said that, and that at the same time is what motivated me too as well. Because whether I choose to continue to politics or not, I don't know. I've already been approached, like you said earlier, the other parties. They already asked me before, and I told them no, because that's not why I'm running.
Right.
That's not why I'm running. If I can inspire one kid that's 18, 22, 25, 33, 37, I don't know. But anyone that feels that they can come from any type of career, but has a voice that's educated, that's learned, that's done the research, that knows people, and they feel empowered, they feel like that they're led to do it, I want to encourage them to do it. Like the other young kid that's running as a write-in, like, I looked at financials and everything. You could have discounted him because shout out to him, he works as a security guard. He produces music on the side. So if this is his passion, he's involved, he's motivated, he should do it. And you got to look at that as like, that could be another stepping stone for him and anybody else that's watching or listening and seeing how this is going, because they may be motivated to jump in the next race as well. So we'll see how it works out. See how it works out. Just wanted to motivate, inspire.
It's been an honor, man. It's been an
Appreciate it,
honor.
man.
It's
Yeah,
been an
man,
honor.
appreciate you
It's been
coming
an
checking
honor.
us out there.
Much love to y'all, man. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Crisco Kidd, man.
Brenda, I'm on the way. I'm on the way.
Hey, man, I don't want to be really get in trouble, man. So.
Yeah, we'll be right back. I'm gonna play a couple songs and then we'll just get back, wrap up and whatnot. But yeah, man, Culture Vibes, support District Radio.
Yeah. I appreciate that, man. Thank you all.
Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.